Do you have what it takes to live your dream life? In today's video, we're going to focus on how to do it. If you clicked on this video, you probably found the movie to be truly inspirational, and in some way you want to understand yourself better because you may have had similar experiences as the character. So make sure to stay till the very end because we're going to give you exactly the steps you need to take to act upon the same kind of fantasies. Warning, this video contains spoilers. Let's first understand what a daydream is. According to Wikipedia, a daydream is the stream of consciousness that detaches from current external events when attention drifts to a more personal and internal direction. Therefore, daydreams, when understood correctly, can serve as a compass for improving your own life by understanding yourself better. In particular, the heroism and the hero's fantasy has been studied by psychologists for several years. Their findings give a quite interesting picture of the character Walter Mitty. Walter Mitty is a middle-aged white man who seems to have the most common life ever. He works an office job, he commutes every day, and he does his accounting diligently. However, we can already observe from the get-go that he has a goal: to win the heart of one of his co-workers, Cheryl Meloff. He doesn't have the courage to talk to her directly, so he tries through a dating website where he knows she's in there. This is greatly contrasted by the fact that he shows immense courage in his first fantasy by jumping into a building on fire, saving a dog, warning all residents, and building a dog prosthesis along the way, which is the epitome of ridiculousness of his fantasy. This is continued by his fantasy as the mountaineer, where he seduces Cheryl Meloff in a hyper-masculine manner. Walter is a negative asset manager, and he is a good friend to famous photographer and adventurer Sean O'Connell. He secretly wishes he could be as brave and assertive as he is. Due to the recent acquisition of Life magazine by an internet-oriented buyer, and that Walter cannot find the negative 25, which is requested by his evil boss, his job as a negative asset manager is heavily threatened unless he takes radical action. Therefore, he decides to go look for Sean wherever he is to get the negative. For that, he needs to get the help of Cheryl Meloff to investigate the clues of where Sean might be. He starts by taking a flight to Greenland, where a ship taken by Sean is located. On a bar, he finds a helicopter pilot that needs to go to the supply ship. However, Walter and his fearful attitude aren't very keen on boarding the helicopter, and even less consider that the pilot is completely drunk. When the pilot ignites the helicopter engine, Walter is suddenly invaded by a feeling that this risky decision is the right one. Out of the blue, he runs and jumps into already taking off helicopter, knowing where Walter comes from. This is probably the most insane decision he has ever taken, and he knows there is no way back now. He is now committed to the goal. After arriving to the ship's location, he has to do an even crazier thing: to jump out of the helicopter. When he does, he misses the boat and plunges into water infested by sharks. He is rescued by the ship's crew. His rest on the ship is not as long as he thinks, because he soon has to get to Iceland, which is a new location of Sean. During his stay, he experiences the unbelievable beauty of Iceland. He has also the courage to swap a longboard with a local kid and experience the thrill of it on an Iceland downhill road. On the same day, he survives a volcanic eruption and has a glimpse of Sean riding a plane to photograph the volcano. Little by little, Walter starts to change after those experiences. When he eventually comes back, his fantasies don't really follow him. He seems more grounded, at peace, and in tune with the present moment. When he arrives, he gets fired as his boss is losing patience. He also sees Cheryl with a man in her house, which makes him even sadder. Arriving at his mom's home, he can recognize the pattern of the piano from one of the pictures of Sean. He soon realizes that Sean came here, and that Walter soon finds that he's going to Afghanistan. He decides to join him once again. This is the most risky trip Walter has ever taken. He will have to reach the ungoverned part of the country and do long days of hiking on the Himalayas. During his hike, he gets a call from Todd of the dating website. He gets a lot of female attention after communicating his previous adventures, but he says he's too busy to check it out as he's in the midst of a new endeavor. This is an extremely profound statement that we're going to talk about in the next part, but let's continue. He finally found Sean trying to photograph snow leopard. This is when Sean finally buries the last daydream desires of Walter. He shows and explains that some moments, like when the leopard is out, are so precious and delightful that he doesn't even press the camera button. This is a unique moment, a moment that's between him and the environment. after realizing the negative has been in his gifted wallet the whole time, he goes on a mission to recover it. Where he finds it, he takes the negative and gives it to his now former boss. We can see that his appearance has radically changed. He is tan with a beard compared to being completely whitish and clean shaved. This is also the moment where he has the assertiveness to talk down to his new former boss about the way he treated all the life employees, which were the backbone of making the magazine successful. The Walter that was submissive and reserved is forever gone, and he now has the guts to speak out and live authentically. He finds out that the negative was a picture of him working. This is the gift of Sean to Walter for the incredible amount of work that he put to make the best out of his pictures. This is also the moment where he begins to develop a relationship with Cheryl. He becomes the hero of his own story instead of spending his days daydreaming. So now comes the very interesting part. What can you learn from the movie to live your dream life? First, courage is the mother of all skills. Courage is one of the most important skills you can ever acquire. There is nothing you will be capable of achieving without having courage. The key skill that allowed Walter to transform himself was to exercise great courage. Courage to take a flight to Greenland, courage to jump in and out of a helicopter, and courage to go into Afghanistan. Therefore, it is very important for you to exercise this life skill. The good thing about courage is that it can be practiced in simple ways. To practice this, take cold showers. Before jumping into the water, you will feel nervous. You may start to think that it's absolutely ridiculous. One thing to remember is that courage isn't acting without fear, but acting in spite of it. Therefore, you need to build a habit that when something uncomfortable presents itself, you do it anyway. This will build a mindset in you that will allow you to get what you want and learn nearly everything you need to achieve your goals. Second, live it, don't dream it. Daydreams are a reflection of our inner reality. It is easy and comfortable to fantasize about them. We often mistake those daydreams as just being a bored mind, but they just aren't like that, as we saw it with Walter Mitty. The right way of thinking about them is to take some time to do introspection and think about what emotions your daydream makes you feel. Because it's not about becoming a firefighter, even though it might be, or an adventurer, but it's about fulfilling the lack that made you create a daydream in the first place. Let's do an example. Walter Mitty and the fantasy on the building on fire. It is meant to cope with a sense of cowardness, probably because he's too scared to talking to Cheryl, but also a lack of competence as he builds the dark processes in the midst of the chaos. Therefore, the right course of action for somebody with a fantasy like this is to reflect on what actions he can take to improve his courage and skill level. This is a very personal endeavor, and it's not about acting out on the dream literally, but rather to solve the root of the problem. 3. Self-confidence is built with evidence. There is a lack of self-confidence in men these days, especially young men. We know for sure that modern society doesn't really help. In a society where men lack antagonism, like when there is nothing to fight for or against, the role of man is sometimes a bit vague. Self-confidence can be defined as your feeling of skillfulness, knowledge, and ability to achieve your goals. Contrary to what modern beliefs tells us, we shouldn't talk to ourselves positively, being kind to ourselves, and all this kind of nonsense. Real confidence comes with evidence. Evidence in your own skills, in your own value, in your ability to manage difficult situations. Therefore, we have to prove to the world and to ourselves that we have what it takes to be confident. This is what Walter did. He went on an extraordinary journey that put him in a corner and developed his skills, courage, and assertiveness. So what does that mean in practice? Well, the answer is not pretty. Get insanely uncomfortable. Go run the marathon, even if you think you can only run a 10K. Ask out that cute girl, even if you think she's out of your league, and build that business you fantasize about but have fear of failure. It's only by getting what you deeply want that your confidence will build up. This is the evidence we talk about. Even better, sometimes just the act of striving for what you want can serve as a boost. For example, you were stressed out to ask out that girl. You think she's too pretty for you. You finally found the courage to do it, but she rejects you. It can still be pretty tough, but now you have the proof of being somebody who puts effort into what he wants despite fear and doubt. Thinking of yourself as having those qualities will make it even more likely that you do it again, because now overcoming this challenge becomes part of your identity. Number 4, escape urban life regularly. As we can observe at the beginning of the movie, Walter lives a quiet urban lifestyle. He isn't really in contact with nature and he spends his days in a corporate environment. It's also one of the lessons of the movie, to go outside and face the full scope of nature. This is perfectly illustrated with the insane landscapes of Greenland, Iceland, and Afghanistan. Also, one of the original movie soundtracks is literally called Step Out. I won't show it here for copyright reasons, but I'll link it in the description below. But anyways, the key idea is that you take the time to experience nature regularly. It is essential for your mental and physical health. A good habit to build is to go on a hike every weekend, and to be even more adventurous, you can go on a wild camping trip. You don't have to become like Sean O'Connell if you don't wish to, but increasing your time in nature through simple activities is essential to live a happy and productive life. We are staying too much indoors, and especially in front of screens. Our bodies will be able to face unpredictable weather, long walks, and a bit of physical risk. It is therefore essential to step outside regularly and experience nature. And the fifth one, attractive people don't care about validation. Like we said previously, self-confidence comes with evidence. If you are somebody that lives as he feels to, not according to societal standards, but to its own ideals, you're going to become confident. In turn, this competence, drive, and passion would translate into more levels of attention from women. You develop your social status once you start accomplishing your dreams. The main reason for this is that most dreams are very hard to achieve because it requires a high level of courage, consistency, and intelligence. It's also why they are dreams and not realities for most people. Showing that you are doing so gives a strong signal for social status, which is just your potential ability to gather resources for a family. According to the book The Evolution of Desire by David Buss, in a quote, "Women in all cultures, past and present, can select men for their apparent ability to accrue future resources based on certain personality characteristics." End quote. Characteristics such as ambition, industriousness, emotional stability, and intelligence, all of which are required to undertake the journeys that Walter has made. But also, you can observe the reactions of Walter to this increase in status. He doesn't really care. He's focused on his mission and his life. This furthers the signal that he is of high status, because men of low status get obsessed with female attention, as for them is very scarce. Those are simps, as we call it in pop culture. Therefore, if you want to be attractive, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you want to, you should focus on becoming the hero of your own story. And once you achieve it, stay focused on your dreams and don't really care that so many people start to admire you now. That's it for the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, give a comment, and see you on the next one.